Dr. Drews, we're unable to hear. Please check if it's on your end. Or give us a minute to get it organized on our end.
Let's move on to the next thing.
If the Convent High School Sign Language Club is ready and eager to go, we'll take that now, and Dr. Drews will come back to you when we're done with the CHS Sign Language Club, who are here to do a performance. I'm told they're going to do an interpretation of a calypso. Everybody loves a good calypso. From their most recent performance this year, Stitches. Incidentally, I'm also told that that last performance was sponsored by the OECS Pearl.
They can use the stage,
and they are performing during Deaf Awareness Week, which is this week. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Convent High School Sign Language Club.
Where you happy?
Some woman, I don't want to misunderstand whatever you might see me do. No, my love is true, I'm not being unfaithful to you. business closed down, she lost she work. Disappointed, suffering from shock. Only takes she home so to relax and cheer she up. You know how them things just go. I'm exhausted, she said to me. Sparrow are so tired and so sleepy. Casually she sat on the bed and asked me to massage her leg. That's all, that is all, that is all. Oh, darling, that is all. Troublemakers will spread rumors for confusion. Oh no, don't take them on. Just be trusting and don't be cutting. Try and understand. I'll never do you no wrong, baby. Darling, you will never deceive. There is no need to disbelieve. Keep your trust and your faith in me, and I promise you there'll be no infidelity. The woman you saw me with the other night, she and she man, they just had a fight. And I find it was really looking so bad. The man kicked she clothes in the yard. She sit down there and sat to cry like she going mad. Lord. The $2,000 I gave her she was to buy a sandwich and a coffee. Not another thing happened. Me and this girl ain't nothing. That's all, that is all, that is all. Oh, darling, that is all. Let nobody cause you to be jealous and confused. Don't mind them and the news. You hear me, baby? They want me to mash up so they could come and shock up. Yeah, when you refuse, we'll be like two fools singing the blues. Singing the blues. I don't know why these women don't stop. Always trying to set me up. Trying to give the impression something wrong when my darling nothing ain't going on. The girl I was with behind the lamppost. Don't vex because I was holding she close. Well, she's a old thief from the east. Is somebody a ring she teeth? I was only trying to hold she for the police. Just doing my civic duty. The reason they had was if she goes down. I was feeling to see if she had a gun. She didn't have no gun by she chest. That's why I was searching under she dress. That's all, that is all, that is all. Oh, oh. I wouldn't lie to you. I love you too much to tell you leave me die like that.
Well, thanks to the Convent High School Umoha Sign Language segment of their club with a presentation of a Sparrow Classic. You quite enjoyed that, didn't you? Yes, we're ready now for His Excellency Dr. Didacus Jules, the OECS Director General. Okay, we'll give them another shot at getting it right, and welcome Honorable Dr. Geoffrey Hanley, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Education of St. Kitts and Nevis. He is the outgoing chair of the Council of Ministers Education. Please welcome Dr. Hanley.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I too want to commend the CHS for such an amazing performance this morning. Thank you. With the acceptance of the protocol, save and accept to recognize Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, incoming Chair Honorable Octavia Alfred, Minister of Education and Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, my honorable colleagues who are here from Antigua, Honorable Matthew, Honorable Andrew, Honorable Webster Roger, Honorable Buffon, who is virtual, Honorable Curtis King, and of course, Honorable Prosper, who is here. Dr. Didicus Jules, the Permanent Secretary, who welcomed us earlier. All of our distinguished guests, and Dr. Didicus Jules and the entire OECS team, all educators, whatever role you are hearing this morning, a very pleasant good morning. Good morning. I'm a teacher by profession as well. It is with profound honor and humility that I address you today at the opening of the 10th Council of Ministers Education meeting. As the outgoing chair, I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to have served in this capacity and to have worked alongside such a committed and visionary cohort of leaders dedicated to the advancement of education across the OECS region. Over the past year, our council was guided by the theme, Regional Development and Sustainability through Quality Education and Social Empowerment, which we embrace not as a slogan, but as a guiding principle for action. During that period, we made significant strides in promoting inclusive, equitable, and resilient education systems. Together, we explored the intersections of education with health, social protection, and economic development, recognizing that our children's future depends on our ability to collaborate across sectors and borders. Our deliberations have been shaped by the understanding that education is a cornerstone of sustainability, development, social cohesion, and economic prosperity. Among our notable achievements in the incremental advancement of the OECS digital learning ecosystem, a transformative initiative aimed at modernizing teaching, learning, and assessment across member states. We also launched the digital OECS harmonized primary curriculum, which promises to standardize and elevate learning outcomes at the foundational level. We have strengthened teacher development through the OECS MyPD platform, offering educators access to continuous professional learning tailored to regional needs. Importantly, we have deepened our commitment to youth engagement. These young leaders have brought fresh perspectives and bold ideas in our discussions, reminding us that the future we are shaping belongs to them. Let's recognize our youth that are here with us. Through the OECS Youth Empowerment Strategy, yes, and initiatives like the OECS in the Classroom School Tour, we have created platforms for youth to engage in national and regional dialogue, ensuring their voices are not only heard, but valued. As we celebrate these achievements, we must also confront the challenges that persist. Learning loss worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, remains a critical concern. Violence in schools, resource constraints, both human and financial, that hinder the full realization of our strategic goals. The need for inclusive education practices, enhanced school counseling, and data-driven decision-making is more pressing than ever. In response, we have committed to several forward-looking solutions. These include strengthening institutional support systems to ensure no learner is left behind, mobilizing additional resources through regional and international partnerships, expanding digital infrastructure, expanding digital infrastructure to bridge the digital divide, fostering interministerial collaboration across health, social development, and education sectors, promoting school feeding programs through the Global School Meals Coalition to improve nutrition and learning outcomes, embracing a modular approach to teaching and learning, especially in mathematics. As I prepare to pass the baton to my esteemed colleague, Honorable Octavia Alfred, known as Teacher Bunny, Minister of Education in the Commonwealth of Dominica, I do so with a sense of optimism and confidence. This year will be guided by the theme, Empowered Teaching for Resilient and Inclusive Digital Education, taking into consideration the 21st century needs of both our teachers and students. Despite the challenges before us, so too are the opportunities. We are uniquely positioned to reimagine education, to invest in teacher development, to prioritize mental health and well-being, and to ensure that every child, regardless of geography, ability, or socioeconomic status, has access to a quality education. To my fellow ministers, I issue this call to action. Let us remain bold in our vision, united in our purpose, and relentless in our pursuit of excellence. Let us continue to challenge the status quo, embrace innovation, and lead with empathy and integrity. The future of our region depends on the decision we make today. I wish to express my deepest appreciation to OECS Commission, whose technical expertise and unwavering support have been instrumental in facilitating our work. In addition, I extend heartfelt thanks to our development partners, including UNICEF, European Union, CDB, the World Bank, and others, such as CXC, whose collaboration has enabled us to scale impact and deepen reform. To the staff members, educators, and stakeholders who work tirelessly behind the scenes, your dedication is the backbone of our progress, and I salute you this morning. May the 10th meeting be a catalyst for renewed commitment, transformative ideas, and enduring partnership. Let us move forward with unity, purpose, and hope. I leave you with the timeless words of Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Thank you, Dr. Hanley, for your remarks and, of course, for your leadership provided during your term as chair of the Council of Ministers Education. At this point, we will go over to Dr. Didacus Jules, the OECS Director General, for his remarks. Dr. Jules, good morning and welcome.
morning, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I started my remarks by congratulating Dominica on this presentation by the students because it signaled a very powerful commitment to people with disability. Prime Minister of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, and members of the Cabinet of Dominica, incoming chairperson of the OECS Council of Ministers of Education and Minister of Education of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Honorable Octavia Alfred, outgoing chair, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Minister of Education and Deputy PM of St. Kitts and Nevis, Honorable Ministers of Education of the OECS, Excellencies, distinguished development partners, colleagues, educators, youth representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to welcome you to this 10th Council of Ministers of Education. You are gathered in the Commonwealth of Dominica and virtually across our region and the world, united under the theme, Empowered Teaching for Resilient and Inclusive Digital Education. This theme captures both the challenge and the promise before us. It reminds us that education is not transformed by technology alone, nor by policies written on paper. I want to emphasize that the failure to make real change in education does not come from a lack of technical solutions. It comes from the tendency to treat reform as a patchwork of disconnected initiatives. And I know Prime Minister Skerrit, as a former Minister of Education, has been pounding this issue. True transformation is political, social, and system-wide. It demands courage from governments to make bold policy choices, commitment from unions to champion both quality and accountability, and engagement from every community to see education as the shared work of a society that is determined to thrive. Where do we stand as a region today? If transformation is our destination, then we must begin with a clear understanding of where we stand today as a region. The latest results from the Caribbean Examinations Council offers both encouragement and cause for reflection, signaling a period of post-pandemic recovery. For the first time in 2 years, the regional metric for matriculation to tertiary institutions and the workforce has increased, moving from 41% in 2024 to 44% in 2025. This progress demonstrates the resilience of the 2025 cohort, whose secondary education was significantly impacted by the events that began in 2020 and the efficacy of targeted regional and national education interventions. However, a closer analysis of the data reveals a complex landscape of differentiated performance across the region. The enduring issue of low mathematics pass rates remains a critical concern despite a modest regional recovery. And to give you an example of the variegated picture across the region, in the British Virgin Islands, this island has reported positive results from using Khan Academy in secondary schools at a ministerial caucus. So you've had in English at 90, virtually almost 98%, and mathematics at 53%. In St. Lucia, has shown the strongest performance in 5 years, 85% in English A and 42% in mathematics. In Antigua and Barbuda, strong performance in English A, 86%, but weak performance in mathematics at 32%. In Montserrat, English A results showing a dramatic increase, while mathematics pass rates decline sharply. English at mathematics at 81% and mathematics at 41%. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a strong performance in English at 85%, but mathematics experiencing a sharp decline. The consistent disparity between English A and mathematics performance suggests a deeper structural issue. The problem is not with student aptitude as evidenced by the high English pass rates, but rather with the methods and the resources allocated for delivering numeracy and problem-solving skills. but the strong performance in new generation subjects such as green engineering, animation, and game design indicates a shift in student interest and a growing alignment with the skills demanded by the modern economy. This trend suggests that a strategic move towards more exciting, challenging, and future-oriented curriculum could be a powerful tool for driving overall academic success and economic relevance across the region. Some might even be tempted to call for a more vocational curriculum, but let's be cautious, because it is not about simplistically being hands-on, but about the excitement of learning, and importantly recognizing that the future of all vocations requires stronger foundational competencies in language, maths, and science, STEAM in short. We meet at a defining moment. The OECS today is not only responding to the turbulence of climate change, pandemics, and economic uncertainty. We are deliberately shaping the future by investing in a resilient, inclusive, and now this is not simply about adapting to change. It is about leading it. The decisions we take now will determine whether our children inherit systems that are outdated or whether they are prepared to thrive in a world of constant transformation. So what have we done and where do we go from here? One, evidence-driven reform, the student census. To answer where we go from here, we must ground our decisions in evidence. That is why the OECS has taken a bold step for the first time in our history, and by the research we've done, it is the first time anywhere in the world that this is being done, to capture the voices not of samples, but of all our learners through the regional student census. And this is to be followed by a similar census of all teachers, as well as the largest demographic of parents that we can reach. So covering approximately 100,000 primary and secondary students across the OECS, this is the largest educational listening exercise ever undertaken in the Eastern Caribbean. And as I said, our research reveals that nowhere else has a total national and regional population census of student opinion been done anywhere before. This is more than data collection. It is about giving voice to key stakeholders. It is about grounding our reforms in evidence, not assumptions. It is about ensuring that the policies we design respond to the lived realities of our children, their teachers, and their communities. From the micro-pilot that we did of this initiative, we learned that our primary students want better facilities, engaging activities, and greater access to technology. Our secondary students are calling for safer schools, improved science labs, better infrastructure, and teachers who are passionate, skilled, and engaging. These voices must guide our reforms. The second thing is innovation in curricula, the digitized, harmonized primary curriculum. These insights remind us that curriculum cannot be theoretical. It must respond to the needs and the aspirations of our learners. Therefore, we are rewriting the DNA of our learning systems. The digitized, harmonized primary curriculum is a bold step into the future, ensuring that every child, whether in Dominica or Anguilla, is taught through a modernized, relevant, skills-focused, and digitally accessible curriculum. This curriculum is designed to create equity, nurture critical thinking, and prepare learners with the skills and resilience needed for our current era. The third is the digital learning economy, because the curriculum alone is not enough. To truly transform education, we must also reimagine the ecosystem that delivers it. And the digital learning ecosystem represents our most ambitious leap forward. We are designing a regional digital education economy where platforms, content, teacher training, education management systems are interconnected, interoperable, and scalable. This effort is about embedding resilience and inclusion into the very core of how teaching and learning happens across our region. As I often say, we do not need to build brick-and-mortar institutions. The digital learning ecosystem is what will drive the transformation of education. The fourth thing is empowering the teaching profession. Digital transformation cannot succeed without human transformation. Teachers remain the heartbeat of education. Digitization is merely a tool, but the human element forever remains integral. And that is why we must move urgently to professionalize the teaching service. The time has come for us to establish national or regional teaching councils that elevate teaching to a profession of high standards, continuous learning, and prestige. Now, colleagues, this is not a technical option. It is a moral imperative. It is a targeted investment. If we expect teachers to prepare our children for the future, then we must prepare the teaching profession itself for the demands of this new era. I therefore urge every member state, every Ministry of Education, every teachers' union, and every stakeholder to summon the will to move decisively in this direction. Empowering the teaching profession is not the responsibility of teachers alone or ministries alone. It requires the full weight of government policy, union partnership, and societal respect. Let us be clear. Empowered teaching is not a slogan. It is the very foundation on which resilient and inclusive digital education will stand. It is in this spirit that the agenda for this meeting has been carefully crafted. Over the next 2 days, ministers will focus on 4 essential fronts that connect directly to this vision. 1, transforming our education systems in alignment with the refreshed OECS education sector strategy. 2, scaling up the OECS digital learning ecosystem, ensuring equity in access and opportunity. 3, deepening strategic collaboration with regional and international partners. And fourthly, facilitating structured sharing of innovations and best practices so that the success of one becomes the strength of all. These priorities give us direction, but they will mean little without decisive action. We must not mistakenly believe that digitizing everything is the panacea for our education challenges. The true solutions lie in the fundamental pillars of a strong system: strong pedagogy, caring teachers, diverse pathways to success, and a culture that values all talents. Without these foundational elements, technology is merely a distraction and not a genuine solution. So colleagues, this is not about fixing yesterday's problems. It is about preparing our children for a tomorrow that we cannot fully predict. To borrow the words of Alvin Toffler, and I quote, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." End of quote. The progress made this year, though modest, demonstrates that a combination of resilience, data-driven policy, strategic investment, and regional collaboration can create a more robust and equitable education system for the next generation of Caribbean students. On behalf of the OECS Commission, I extend profound thanks to the government and people of Dominica for hosting this historic 10th sitting. Let us commit to being bold, fearless, and future-focused so that the decisions we take here echo in every classroom, in every island, and in the lives of every learner across our region. I thank you.
Well, thanks to Dr. Didacus Jules, the Director General of the OECS, for his remarks, for basically an overview of the state of education in the region, and for your recommendations on the actions we can take as member states to improve student performance and outcome in each of our countries. Thank you, Dr. Jules. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Octavia Alfred, the Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and the incoming Chair of the Council of Ministers of Education.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, other honorable members of Cabinet, Honorable Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, St. Kitts and Nevis, and outgoing chair, thank you graciously for your work. Honorable Matthew, Minister for Education, Antigua and Barbuda, Senator Andrew, Minister of Education of Grenada, Honorable Royer, Minister for Social Development of Anguilla, Honorable Beaufort, Minister of Education, Montserrat, Honorable King, Minister of Education from St. Vincent, Dr. Pauline Prosper, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, St. Lucia, Dr. Didicus Jules, Director General of the Organization of East Caribbean States, Mr. Robert Gis, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and other permanent secretaries, Dr. Jeffrey Blaise, Chief Education Officer, other officers from the Ministry of Education, reigning Miss OECS Developmental Partners, Miss Simon, Head of the Human and Social Division of the OECS Commission, staff of the OECS Commission, visiting dignitaries, development partners, students, distinguished guests, the media, everybody in the room, good morning. We gather again as stewards of education from across our region to reflect, to share, and to strategize. I extend warm greetings on behalf of the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Enjoy as much as you can and come again soon. The past few years have reminded us that our education systems are only as strong as their ability to adapt. Natural disasters, pandemic, economic shocks, global and regional disruptions, decline in patriotism among our people, and cultural penetration that threatens our true Caribbean identity. These have not only tested the resilience of our nations and our people, but have made evident the vulnerabilities within our systems. Education as a bedrock of national development must be fortified against these disruptions. To do so, we must intentionally design systems that are inclusive, flexible, and digitally ready to address the urgent need to reimagine education in ways that make it both adaptable and sustainable. The theme of the deliberation, Building Resilience and Inclusive Education System for a Digital Future through Empowered Teaching, captures the challenges before us while pointing towards the pathways we must take. Resilience in education requires investment in infrastructure, both physical and digital, that ensures continuity of learning in times of crisis. This includes strengthening our digital ecosystem, expanding reliable connectivity, and providing access to technological tools for both learners and educators. Inclusive education systems demands that no child, no youth, no adult learner is excluded from opportunities because of where they live, their gender, socioeconomic status, or disability. Our policies must continue to ensure that every learner has equal opportunity to thrive in a transformed education landscape. Empowered teaching is the key that unlocks all of this. Technology, as we've heard before, cannot replace the teacher. Instead, it must serve as an enabler. Our role is to equip educators with knowledge, skills, and confidence to integrate digital resources into their teaching while nurturing creativity, critical thinking, innovation, resilience, and values in our learners. When teachers are empowered, students are inspired, and societies are transformed. Over the past 5 years, that's what I can speak about. Over the last 5 years, we have had conversations on numerous aspects of education, and we have worked very hard in putting in place measures to support various areas in the education system. We spoke about comprehensive reform of our education system and advocated for increased funding to access resources to implement curriculum changes that highlight critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. We explored innovative teaching methods, especially to address our challenges in mathematics, and we promoted technological integration that allows our children to learn and thrive in a rapidly changing world. We encouraged community involvement and collaboration. We supported collaboration and integration of all sectors of government to ensure that the education our people receive is preparing them for our context. We squabbled over the reality that our current system is not designed to prepare our children for the complexities of the 21st century, and we stressed the need to shift our focus from teaching to test towards personalized learning experiences that engage students and nurture their individual strengths. We endorsed investing in mentorship programs, internship, job attachment, project-based learning, and socio-emotional support. We deliberated on early childhood, primary and secondary education, local and regional assessment, school safety, special education, skills education, bringing happiness back to our schools, information management system, tertiary education, and so much more. We did all of this together because the similarities among us far outweigh the differences. So we agreed that unity is our strongest strength. We are together again to deliberate as a unit. We have come a long way, but we still have far to go. But we are going that far together. The task before us is clear. We must work collaboratively to shape education systems, as we've heard, that are inclusive, future-focused, and capable of withstanding the challenges unique to our region. We are not simply preparing students for jobs of the future. We are shaping citizens of resilience, democracy, and innovative economies. The calls for collaboration across our region, sharing resources, not a competition, sharing resources, pooling of expertise, harmonizing standards, and creating a joint platform that can benefit all our people. Let us align regional strategies to strengthen our collaborative response. Let us continue to empower our students to take ownership of their education and foster a generation of lifelong learners who are preparing not just for tests, but for life. Let us continue to invest in teacher training programs that empower our educators to inspire innovation in their classrooms. Let us fight to ensure that every child has access to quality education. Together, as we work to continue to create a robust education framework that not only elevates our students, but strengthens the entire region. In Dominica, as we advance our national vision of becoming the world's first climate resilient nation, we recognize that education resilience must form a central pillar of this aspiration. Indeed, the resilience of our people is fundamentally tied to the resilience of our education system. I therefore urge all of us to remain steadfast in our commitment to build systems that are digitally empowered, socially inclusive, and anchored in strong teaching. This is not merely an investment in education. It is an investment in the future security, prosperity, and stability of our Caribbean region. Let us remain focused on the heartbeat of our education system, the students. Together, as Caribbean family of nations, we have the opportunity to lead boldly and show the world what small states united in purpose can achieve. Let us remember, our agenda is not just about policies. It's about people. It's about creating an environment where every child's voice is heard and valued. The future, I could tell you so much more, but I live in the rest of my Prime Minister who is very passionate about education. The future of our children depends on what we do here over these past 2 years. And now is the time for action. God bless you. Jesus love you and I love you too. Good morning.
Thank you to the Honorable Minister for Education of Dominica, and of course we look forward to your leadership over the next year as chair of this council. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Roosevelt Scarrett, Prime Minister and Minister for Investment and Governance, will now deliver the feature address. Please welcome the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all recognize the Honorable Octavia Alfred, the Minister for Education of Dominica and incoming Chair of the Council of Ministers of Education. Honorable Dr. Geoffrey Hanley, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Education of St. Kitts and Nevis and the outgoing Chair of the OECS Council of Ministers. Honorable Ministers of Education and Heads of Delegations from the OECS, my Cabinet colleagues, Dr. Jules, the Director General of the OECS Commission, Father Later. I want to also recognize the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education of Dominica, Mr. Robert Geest, our dear students from the various schools in Dominica. We also have Ms. Dominica present. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, good morning to all of you, and of course, to our visiting delegations, welcome to Dominica. I think this thing is a little bit shorter for me. Robert, you take my folder for me, so I think they made this for people taller than me, you know? That's me. That's the folder. Some people put something under their feet for height, you know, I put this one. It is no doubt an honor to address you today. And on behalf of the government and people of Dominica, I welcome all of you to Dominica and to this Ministers of Education meeting. I hope that your deliberations will result in positive outcomes for our children across the region, ensuring that we create learning spaces that help us turn out productive, responsible, and empowered citizens who can confidently shape the future of our Caribbean region. As a former Minister for Education myself, I understand the immense responsibility that rests on your shoulders. As ministers, you have the responsibility of shaping character, instilling values, and equipping our children with the resilience and creativity to thrive in a world that is changing faster than any of us could imagine. I have seen firsthand the dedication of our teachers, the determination of our students, and the sacrifices made by parents to give their children the best possible future. These efforts deserve our full support, and they demand that we, as policymakers, think boldly and act decisively. This forum provides us with the space to share ideas, to learn from each other's successes and challenges, and to craft solutions that respond to the real needs of our people. Together, those of us in this room charged with the responsibility of education leadership can build a system that is modern, inclusive, and relevant to the demands of the 21st century. I note that your theme, Empowered Teaching for Resilient and Inclusive Digital Education. It is forward-thinking and an urgent call to action. It recognizes that in a world of rapid technological shifts and climate vulnerabilities, our education system cannot simply be updated, they must be transformed. The resilience you refer to is not just about building back infrastructure. It is about building our human capital. Inclusion is not just about access to a device. It is about ensuring that every single child, regardless of circumstance, can thrive in a digital society. And at the center of this transformation, as your theme rightly states, is the empowered teacher. We believe that before a student can be resilient, the teacher must be. Before a classroom can be inclusive, the teacher must feel equipped to manage that diversity. An empowered teacher is not merely one who holds a degree or has completed training. Rather, he or she is a professional who is trusted, equipped with the right tools, and inspired to act as a facilitator of learning rather than simply a transmitter of information. This empowerment comes from ongoing opportunities to upgrade their skills, particularly through professional development programs that focus on digital pedagogy, differentiated instruction, and socio-emotional learning. And I believe this speaks to the heart of what we've been talking about for so many years, education reform. And you are fortunate as ministers to have the opportunity now to be the leaders in the transformation and the reform that we need in this Caribbean today. This is a global imperative. This is a regional emergency that we have to dramatically address the structural and systemic challenges of education. Yes, we've addressed access to education. Yes, we're addressing the issue of inclusivity. Yes, we've addressed in large extent the issue of teacher training, but there must be a paradigm shift. There must be a paradigm shift, or else the society will reap what we sow in the education system. And I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying personally, because that's what sometimes happens when we speak about those things. This is about us, and it's about the future of our children and the future of our society. We have to equip our children with what they need today to live in this very difficult world. Our system cannot be seen to only be preoccupied with preparing students for examinations. And if you ask me, I think there has to also be a serious structural change at the CXA Examination Council. By simply adding subjects as subjects to be taken at examination level at the CXA is not a positive movement. We have taken, for example, physical education, where when I went to school, it was about sports, it was about running, it was about playing, and now it is an exam. And instead of the child doing jumping jacks, we have multiple choice to determine what is jumping jacks. And what do we have? We have obesity in the classroom. We have diabetes, we have hypertension among young children. So yes, students will get the wonderful A's, but how is that child able to use those A's if he or she is not well physically, emotionally, and psychologically? And the students are screaming for change. Parents are screaming for change. And so we have a critical core of the society who understands that there has to be a change. And the change should not be, as Dr. Jones quite rightly said, should not be to add things to the system. The system has to have a serious bypass surgery, and maybe triple bypass surgery, in order for us to achieve the desired objectives. I have been, sometimes I feel like I'm the lone person in the wilderness calling for this. But it is a tremendous emergency that we need to have. And we must resist the temptation. We must resist the temptation of simply accepting monies from people to implement programs in our school system if they're not aligned to what we want. These resources that we receive, they come with a prescription, and we follow that prescription. But that prescription is not aligned to what we need in our system. So yes, we may have spent millions, but to whose benefit? And if it's not going to benefit the students and the teachers, then it's not good for the system. It's not going to benefit the society and the economy, it's not good for the system. So we have to make challenges. Those challenges we speak about are not only present in the OECS, they're global. When you go to Commonwealth Ministers of Education meeting, we hear of those challenges. You go to CARICOM Ministers of Education meeting or COSHA, whatever it is, we hear about those challenges. So these are global challenges. The world has changed. The world has changed. And yes, when we speak about CXC results, which is now the barometer or, of how well the system is doing, if you spend time and to examine the CXC results, then we're in a crisis situation. Because as educators, we should never be preoccupied with who have gotten 100%. We must be preoccupied with who hasn't gotten to the 50% mark. Because that is what it means when we say no child should be left behind. The notion of no child should be left behind, that doesn't mean that every child will have a space at the classroom. Yes, that is important. But the no child left behind means that every child has the ability to learn, and we have to ensure that we give this child the tools and equip them with the resources and the tuition to learn and succeed. We all know that they're different learners. The Lord has given everybody different talents, and psychology tells us there are 7 different types of learners. How do we prepare, how do we, in our tuition, provide for the different type of learners? We can't only watch those who have gotten the 15 ones or the 10 ones at CXC. What about those who didn't get 1 or 2 passes at CXC? Where are they? And what is going to be the impact in the society? And so, my friends, it's a golden opportunity. I believe that we have the political will in the region. I think it's a matter for us to stop looking at ourselves and look at the future of our country and see, what do we want for this country? What do we want for our children? And so we have to work together towards working it. And I think at the OECS, because we've had a long history and tradition of functional cooperation, I believe we can do it by ourselves. We don't need the rest of the world, because we have to start a journey. I think the OECS is better placed to show the rest of the world, to show the rest of the Caribbean region, that we can transform the education system and make it better and more responsive to our people. I was trying to stick to my prepared text because I don't want to be too long on this matter. But on this matter, I prefer to speak off the script and to sound this alarm. Education reform. And we need to define it. And it's not just about the curriculum. And when we talk about maths, part of the challenge we have with maths is that we're not training enough math teachers. Secondly, we have diluted the time that we ascribe to teaching of maths and English language at the schools, because we've added everything. Things that are supposed to be the core of the school system, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's dancing, whether it's physical education, we've now taken them and make them subjects. So we have to find the time within the 8 to 1 period to have the tuition for this. So maths, in my days at secondary school, I would have taught English every single day, and twice a week, double period. Today, maybe if you have a double period a week, you're lucky. Same as math. We're not putting enough time in the math, and we're not putting enough time in the core subjects at the preschool level, at the primary school level, because if we do not have proper tuition of math at the preschool and primary school level, we cannot expect to have different results at the secondary and tertiary levels. And these things require dramatic reform. It's not about fiddling with anything. It's about dramatic reform. Having a system that we, in a dispassionate manner, examine and remove what we do not need and add what is missing. Examinations. Why is it in the 21st century that our examinations are largely written examinations? How can we send a child to 5 years in a secondary school and then one exam determines that child's future, called CXC? And all of us here listening to me in the OECS know of our brothers and sisters, our friends in the communities who were among the brightest in the schools. But something happened on that day of the examination that nobody took time to understand and appreciate. And that child fails the exams, and that determines the child's future. There's no need for us to have this exam-driven system anymore. because information is at your fingertips. So the idea of transmitting information is no longer needed because you have access to it. Back in the days when you had no access to the internet or information online, but now we have it. And so we have to empower our young people with values. Why is it that we have reduced, or even some schools eliminate, religious instructions at our school system? Many of our schools, we don't even sing the national anthem of our respective countries or national pledges. And so we have a lack of appreciation and respect for who we are as a nation, the struggles that our countries have gone through, and how do we shape the future understanding our history. How is it that we know of European history and we do not know of our OECS history? And so there are huge opportunities, and I think the time is urgent for reform. Otherwise, history will record our contribution as the current day custodians. And I'm not talking about only ministers of education or prime ministers or cabinets or governments. I'm talking about each one of us must be preoccupied with this. And each one of us has a responsibility to play our part and to provide our contribution to this reform. And we will see how beneficial it is to our children and to our society. Because what is happening is that this school system, even at the tertiary level, because we have more degrees in the OECS now than we had 25 years ago. But these universities are not teaching critical analytical skills. It's about a money-making industry now. So the quicker they can get you out of the system, they get you out. And the level, the quality of the coursework, if you look at it objectively, you realize that it is not providing the student or the graduate with the skills of the present day. Because it's all about an exam, it's all about the schools making money. And so we have a vicious cycle. And then what happens? People come with degrees and people come with their 6-1s and 8 and 10 ones and 12 ones. And they may not be able to find a job in the OECS, and they get frustrated, and rightly so, because they studied the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so we have serious gaps in our OECS countries in terms of skills. But we have an oversupply of academic skills. We have a challenge. But we all know the solution to it, and that is important. When you know you have solved half of the problem, the question is, what do we do with the knowledge that we have in terms of the transformation? I wish you so much success in your discussions today. And I look forward to the outcomes and possibly a roadmap to education reform in a dramatic way in the OECS, so that we can spend the next couple of years of our lives implementing that reform and to ensure that our societies are in a much better place than we would have inherited it and pass it on to succeeding generations. God bless all of you and your countries and the OECS. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your impassioned remarks and for always speaking to education reform and the delivery of effective education with such passion and consistency. We thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for the students of the Paybush Primary School who are with us all the way from the north of the island, and they will now put on a performance. Please welcome the students of the Paybush Primary School. The Paybush Primary School with a taste of authentic Dominican culture, the heel and toe, as we prepare to launch our independence celebrations this Saturday. We're celebrating our independence going into October, November. You heard from Mr. Gist about all of it earlier on. And I see on the program we have a WCMF video. If that is ready, we'll go with it. If not, I'm going to call on Dr. Jeffrey Blaise, the Chief Education Officer, to deliver a vote of thanks.
I guess it was not ready. Thanks, Mrs. Smith. Good morning, everybody. In expressing gratitude, we should be aware that the highest form of appreciation is not mere utterance, but the actions which succeed it. Today we aim not simply to utter words, but also to demonstrate with our actions that the education of our students remain the most important element of human development in the region. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development, Vocational Training and National Excellence, and by extension, the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica, wishes to express deepest appreciation to all those who contributed to the success of this event. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, so we thank you for gracing us with your presence and for addressing this gathering. Your efforts have always been recognized by us, and your commitment to education has never gone unnoticed. And you would have heard the passion in Honorable Skerrit's voice in expressing his commitment to education. Thank you, sir, for being here. Honorable Octavia Alfred, Minister for Education and incoming Chair of the Council of Ministers of Education of the OECS. We are profoundly thankful for your stewardship to the Ministry of Education in Dominica and for your continued enthusiasm in matters of education. Honorable Alfred is like an Energizer bunny in education. She's always at it. Thank you, Honorable Alfred, for this. I want to also thank other honorable members of the Cabinet of Dominica for support and for the presence today. Let me thank Honorable Dr. Geoffrey Ian Hanley, who is the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Education in St. Kitts and Nevis, for inspiring remarks And also, we want to thank him for his past chairmanship to the Council of Ministers of Education in the OECS. Thank you, sir, for excellent work. We appreciate your contribution to education. We sincerely thank all other ministers of education in participating member states of the OECS. And we thank you not only for choosing Dominica as the host country for this event, but also for your continued commitment to education. I know the deliberations in the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, will be very beneficial to member states. Thank you for your presence here today. The Director General of the OECS, Dr. Jules, joining us online. We appreciate his leadership and passion for education. You could have heard it in his voice as well. I want to recognize the head of the Human and Social Development Division in the OECS, Mrs. Cicero Simon. Mrs. Simon, a colleague in education, thank you for your support. Thank you for your dedication. This has not gone unnoticed either. And in thanking Ms. Simon, I want to also thank the other members of the OECS Commission, the members of staff, who have been working closely with the Ministry of Education in coordinating this event for the next 2 days. The permanent secretaries in member states of the OECS, we thank you for your presence here. We also want to thank Mr. Gis, who is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education in Dominica. Mr. Gis, we appreciate your dedication to education and your celebration of Dominica and advocacy in that regard. Thank you for that. All chief education officers, chief technical officers, directors of education of participating member states, we know that the policy advice that have been provided over the years have assisted in shaping education development in the region. We thank those officers for your participation here today. We have quite a few regional and international partners joining us both present physically and online. We have members, representatives from CARICOM, the Caribbean Development Bank, Caribbean Examinations Council, the Global Partnership for Education, the Eastern Caribbean Joint Board of Teacher Education, UEJBT, UNICEF. We have our UNESCO representatives, local Mrs. Hyacinth from Ola Hyacinth, World Bank representatives from KICS, Knowledge Innovation Exchange, that is, and any other partners, regional and international partners joining us. I know quite a few are online as well. We thank you for your commitment to education in the region, for your strong technical expertise over the past years, and that has significantly assisted in shaping education development in the member states. His Excellency Dr. Gerard Jean-Jacques, Ambassador to CARICOM and for the Commonwealth of Dominica, and also he is the Commissioner to the OECS. We thank you for supporting education. We thank the heads of colleges and youth representatives who are here this morning for their presence. We also want to thank all our invited guests, not only physically present, but online. We have quite a few persons joining us online due to capacity issues, and we value their presence, online presence that is, as well as those joining us regionally, online that is. A note of appreciation to Father Elton John Leighton for invocation of the Holy Spirit. We always emphasize in the region the importance of the spiritual aspect of life, because that is what shapes us as a people. We were pleased to listen to our rising star, Abia Israel, leading us with the national anthem. Abia is quite a remarkable singer, and she has done quite a few renditions. I think you might want to Google some of them because they're quite interesting. Thanks, Abia, for that. A special note of thanks for the students of the Convent High School and Paybush Primary School. You would have realized from the presentations that our students have reaffirmed their leadership capacity in performing arts. And as Honorable Prime Minister indicated, this is what we want our students to demonstrate excellence across the board, not only in academics, but also in all other areas, because we want well-rounded citizens. Ms. Kiana Dyer, who is the Miss Dominica 2025 and Miss OECS, always supporting education. She is one of our role models for youth advocacy. Thank you for your presence and for supporting education. We are happy that you are here. We want to thank staff of the Ministry of Education for coordinating this event and for ensuring that all the logistical arrangements were attended to. I want to also express a note of thanks to anybody that I may have missed. You are special to us, and we are happy that you have supported the development of education in the sub-region. Mrs. Dion Durant-Smith, who is the chair for this event, as usual, you have done an excellent job. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for leading this exercise in the chairing capacity. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We look forward to productive deliberations over the next two days, and as Honorable Prime Minister indicated, we look forward to significant reform in the sub-region. Thank you, one and all.
Well, thanks to Dr. Bless for delivering the vote of thanks. As we end, I would like to invite Ms. Kiana Dyer, the reigning Miss OECS, to present tokens of appreciation, first to the Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit. To the Honorable Dr. Geoffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Education, St. Kitts, and outgoing Chair. And to the Honorable Octavia Alfred, Minister of Education in Dominica, and the incoming Chair of the Council of Ministers, Education. Well, thanks to Ms. Dyer. Ladies and gentlemen, ministers from around the region, delegates from our OECS territories, you will now continue with your closed sessions. We wish you a productive 2 days and the very best with your meeting. Students, performers, you're invited to refreshments on the balcony. Thank you everyone for being here. Good morning.